Hi, everyone. I just want to thank everyone for coming, and I do hope that you enjoy this presentation and that at the end that you feel super prepared. And if you do have any questions at the end of the presentation, please feel free to reach out to your trip coordinator. It could be myself, Cynthia, or it could be my colleague, Angela Hart. Um, but yeah, we are here to help you. So if you do have questions at the end of this presentation, please let us know, and we will definitely answer those questions for you. So this presentation is going to be about 35 to 40 minutes long, and we'll also be posting this on your portal account so you can watch at your convenience. All right, so I did want to start off with a little bit about me. My name is Cynthia Rivera, and I'm one of the International Youth Trip Coordinators here at Midowee. These are a few photos of me and my personal travels. I've been to Mexico and Ghana and Thailand and Egypt. I've definitely traveled a lot, and I'm super grateful for that. And I do have a passion for traveling, which I probably share with a lot of you. But I know I've spoken to a few of you or a lot of you over the phone or through all the emails that I send. But if you do have any questions, I'm here to help you and support you while we prepare for your trip to Ecuador. All right, today's agenda covers everything here that's on your screen. So we'll be diving into some safety information, health tips, flights, packing, accommodations, transportations, what your experience will look like, different activities that you will do, and any Q&A that you may have at the end. All right, so our trips are our most impactful experiences, and no one knows this better than our founder, Craig Kielberger, who is the boy standing in the middle of this picture. And these trips were born out of a life-changing experience that Craig had when he was about 14 years old. So in 1996, Craig's experience in Southeast Asia really gave him a true understanding of what it meant to live through some of the issues that we read and that we see here at home on TV or in the newspaper. So it gave him a chance to really connect with the voices behind these issues and really understand the perspectives of those living a very different way of life. So, some people might say that this was our very first Midowee trip, and being that Craig went pretty much on his own to Southeast Asia, safety was probably not at the top of his mind. However, Craig and our organization have really grown since then, and so have our trips. All right, so I wanted to take some time now to go over our top priority for all of our trips, which is safety. Midowee has taken more than 6,500 youth on trips overseas since 2002 without any major incident, and we do take serious measures and precautions to ensure your safety from the moment you sign up for your Midowee trip to the moment you return home. And you can really see all of the safety measures that we have in place here on your screen, but additionally, we do have an entire team dedicated to ensuring the safety of our trips and travelers, which is our risk management team. And then they assure that we will never ever run a trip unless we are 100% confident in its safety. Also, before your trip, your facilitators who will be traveling with you will receive training in standard operating procedures and different emergency circumstances. And our RM team, they monitor all travel advisories from the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. Additionally, on trip, your facilitators will carry a phone with them that is available 24/7, and there's constant communication between our in-country team. So it will be our country team in Ecuador with our team here in Toronto, and there's constant communication happening with your facilitators as well. So you can rest assured that there is that flow of communication always happening, and you will never ever also be separated from the group or your facilitators. Right, so here on your screen are a few important health tips regarding your health, as it's extremely important to us, and this ensures that you have a rewarding but very healthy trip as well. So we ask all our participants to visit a travel doctor prior to the trip departure to receive the necessary vaccinations and recommendations. You can let your doctor know that you will be visiting Quito, Chimborazo, Riobamba, and you will also be visiting the Amazon for half of your trip in the community east of Tena, which is along the Napo River. Please expect, the typical travel bugs, so we do ask that you wash your hands often. Your facilitators will also be there to make sure that everyone is drinking lots and lots of water on your flight and throughout the duration of your trip. It can get humid, it can be hot, so we want to make sure that you are drinking enough water to stay hydrated. Another health tip is that we ask that you bring any prescription medicine in your carry-on luggage. Please don't put it in your checked-in luggage. And then in relation to that, we have our medication policy in place, which is when you arrive in Ecuador, you will also be asked to hand your prescription medicine to your facilitators so they can carry it for you and they can make sure that you're taking your medication on time when appropriate and making sure that we know what's getting put into your body so we can best support you while you're in Ecuador. So that your facilitators will be there the entire time to support you throughout the trip regarding your health. All right, so you can find your flight itinerary on your portal account about 3 months prior to your departure date. And at the airport, you will meet your trip coordinator, which will likely be me or my colleague Angela Hart. And then you will also be meeting your facilitators there about 4 hours before the flight departure time. So, for example, if your flight departs at 7:30 p.m., then that means we will be meeting at 3:30 p.m. And the 4 hours before is simply because it is a larger group and the check-in process can take some time. So we want to make sure that everyone's going through security at a comfortable pace. And we also do want to, give you a chance to meet your fellow travelers and trip facilitators before getting on the plane. For our Ecuador trips, the meeting spot will be at the Toronto Pearson Airport in Terminal 1 at the Avianca check-in desk. So please, please, please bring your passport. All right, so I'm going to take some time now to go through some things that will really make a difference between you having a good trip and having an amazing and transformative experience. So, to ensure that everyone on the trip is having an immersive experience and to keep our partnerships with the communities in Ecuador strong, we do have three policies that we have in place and that have to be followed on our trip. So, the first one is our gift giving policy. So in Ecuador, we've worked for years to create really strong partnerships with the communities that we work with. And the We Villages program works towards sustainable development and empowering people and communities to support themselves. And this means that the work we do is in solidarity with our communities and it's not an act of charity. So instead of looking for a handout, we community members are happy to receive a hand up. So we do have a strict no gift giving policy, which means that participants are not to bring gifts from home to give to local children or families. And this includes anything from a soccer ball to school supplies to the sunglasses that have on your face or the water bottle that you're carrying. So please abide to our gift giving policy. And then for our photo policy, it's quite similar to our gift giving policy. This policy exists to preserve the positive relationships that we have with our partner communities. So we want to ensure that the photos we take are not exploitative. So we do ask that photos are only taken of people with whom you have built a relationship with and that we have a relationship with as an organization after obtaining their permission. And we will never take photos of people that we see while we're driving or walking by. So if you are taking photos with the community members, it would be so great for you to have their name and even a story so that when you come home, you don't just have a photo of someone you saw in Ecuador, but you have a photo with something that you've made a connection with, and it makes that photo so much more special to you. And we can definitely assure you that there will be plenty of opportunities for you to take photos and really highlight key moments on your trip. So the trip facilitator will let the entire group know when it's appropriate to take photos, and they will also not hesitate to let you know when it's an inappropriate time to take photos. For our communication policy, although you are allowed to bring your cell phones, our facilitators will make sure that you are really fully immersed into the experience. So please leave your phones in your rooms, and your facilitators will also be collecting the SIM cards when you arrive in Ecuador. All right, so packing dues. First of all, we do ask that you pack everything in a hiking backpack, like the one in your screen. It should be about 40 to 60 liters big. And for your volunteer clothing, we ask that you bring long pants, t-shirts, and comfortable, sturdy shoes. So that would mean running shoes with a nice, sturdy rubber sole. We ask that you bring comfortable clothing and light layers. It could get a little bit chilly in Chimborazo, so light layering is the best thing to do while it can get really humid and hot in the Amazon. So we really do ask that you keep that in mind in terms of your packing. The shirts that you bring must cover your shoulders and chest, and the shorts that you do bring must go past your knees. And this is just so we can remain culturally appropriate with around the community members that we will be visiting. We ask that you bring about $200 USD for spending money. If you have valuables and electronics that you really have a emotional connection with, we do ask that you leave them at home. That's not to say that you shouldn't bring your camera or your music devices, but we just want to keep in mind that anything that you bring is your responsibility. So if it's really meaningful, then we do say that it's probably best to leave at home. For packing jumps. So there's no leggings, no yoga pants, no skinny jeans, no clothing with offensive logos, no shirts that do not cover your shoulders and chest area, no shorts that do not reach your knees, and no gifts for the community. All right, so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into your experience in Ecuador. So We Charity has been building schools in Chimborazo since 1999, and you'll be spending half of your time in Chimborazo. In 2008, the organization then realized that communities needed more than just schools to thrive. So we introduced the We Villages model. And most recently, we expanded programming into the Amazon region. This was a great opportunity. This will be a great opportunity for you to see some of the initial stages of the relationship building with the community and some of the early projects that are being built. It can also be an opportunity to learn about the indigenous people of the Amazon and understand their story because the Ecuadorian Amazon is home to thousands of indigenous people who have lived there for millennia, and these extremely remote communities have become some of the most vulnerable groups living in Latin America due to, their limited authority over agricultural land use, labor opportunities, especially for women, and limited access to healthcare. Severe poverty and this limited access to education and environmental conditions really affects the vitality of these communities. The picture on your screen shows what education looked like in the past. And like in our previous slide, it shows the We Villages model focuses on 5 different pillars, which is education, water, health, food, and opportunity. In Ecuador, we're really focusing on education, so it has a greater emphasis. This is what education like now in Ecuador and in the communities that we are partnering with and working with. So just to give you a little bit more information on how education works in Ecuador, it is compulsory and it is free for children of ages 6 to 14. Although it's free and enrollment rates are relatively high in cities, children in rural communities face different barriers, including how far they are from the school, lack of resources, and well-trained teachers. Many also face issues like hunger, illness, or other duties that they have to stay at home. This prevents them from attending class. As many as 25% of children drop out by the 5th grade in Ecuador, according to the US Department of Labor. And this is where our organization comes into the communities to help our community members with building and rehabilitating schools in rural areas, furnishing classrooms, providing educational programming, and offering student leadership courses. Another pillar that we really emphasize in Ecuador is water. And access to clean water and sanitation facilities in Ecuador is largely determined by income and whether a community is considered urban or rural. So, water service is frequently disrupted in rural communities and it's often not drinkable. Our organization will help in providing hand washing stations and latrines, clean water systems, and water and sanitation education. All right, while you're in Ecuador, you'll have the opportunity to meet really amazing individuals. So, in addition to the facilitators that will be with you and your group the entire time, you'll also be accompanied by a few local staff who will help you have the most safe experience. In Ecuador, you'll have a cultural facilitator. So, this is someone who's local to the area and they act as a cultural link to the country and the communities and to translate youth connection with local community members. You'll also have your cooks who are trained specifically to support the need of our travelers, and they are amazing at accommodating our Western palates and ensuring that we have well balanced meals since we know that you will be very hungry from all the building you will be doing. And then speaking of building, on the build site, the building is always overseen by a local foreman who can ensure that along with your facilitators, that safe building techniques are being used. And then finally, our committed drivers are great at ensuring that we are always safe while we travel around Ecuador. So for your facilitators, they will be accompanying you throughout this entire experience, and their role on the trip is to ensure that you're having a safe, immersive, and impactful experience. And they are amazing mentors with extensive travel backgrounds and diverse experiences working with different social justice issues. So you will definitely find out more about your facilitators about a month before your trip. So they'll be writing welcome letters so you can get to know them a little bit before you head out for your trip. And I do really encourage you to take the time that you can to read through these letters just to get a little bit of a sense of the facilitators that will be traveling with you. And while you're in Ecuador, really get to know them and just pick at their brain because they are such great mentors to be traveling with. For transportation, so this is a picture of Chimborazo, and you'll be traveling in vehicles like this. So it's like large mini buses or buses, and all the vehicles are operated by a trusted third-party partner, and also the entire group will be traveling together to and from every location. Another form of transportation is through a canoe. So this picture that you see on your screen is called a canoe, but it's more like a motorized boat. And this will help you get to the Amazon via the community in the Amazon via the Napo River. All right, so just to dive into a little bit for your accommodations, this will be where you'll be staying in Chimborazo. So you will be, this will be your home away from home, and your accommodations throughout your trip will be kind of like your base camp. You will spend a lot of your time outside and outdoors with the community members, but at home, once you return in the afternoons and evenings, you'll have some downtime to relax and to really freshen up and prepare for the following day. Also be staying in the Minga Lodge, and the Minga Lodge is a facility that is owned and operated by Midui staff. And in both Chimborazo and in Minga Lodge, there'll be about 2 to 4 people per room, and you'll be divided by gender. So this is another photo of the Minga Lodge, and you'll be having your meals here together as a group. All right, so you will be having your meals at the dining hall, and that's where you'll have all your meals while you're in the Amazon. We do have a delicious and healthy menu laid out for you. So some examples of these meals would be eggs or oatmeal at breakfast, followed by a lunch consisting of sandwiches and fresh fruit, whereas dinner is a bit more of a heavier meal like lasagna and vegetables. And all of these meals, at all of these meals, you'll be drinking lots and lots of water, which is purified and filtered. And our chefs in Ecuador are really great at accommodating different dietary needs and allergies. So if you do have any of those, please contact your coordinator and let them know so we can let our chefs know ahead of time on how to best support you in terms of your dietary restrictions and allergies that you may have. Okay, so we're going to take a deeper dive into what your experience will be like while you travel Ecuador. You will start off your adventure in the historic city of Quito, and Quito is Ecuador's capital city. It's also a UNESCO heritage site. So here's where you'll have a chance to really learn about the history of the country, and this will give you the context into Ecuador's social story. You will also be able to see a very evident contrast between city life and rural life. In Ecuador, you'll also have an opportunity to join a Minga. And what Minga means is the coming together of people to work on a project for the benefit of all. And your building project, you'll have a better sense of what you'll be doing about a month prior to the trip. And this is because our communities are constantly at work, whether we have our trips there, our youth trips there or not. So we do want to come into the community knowing that what we do is what is exactly what they need us to do. So that's why we find out about a month before on what building project that you'll be working on. So, for build site safety, we mentioned it earlier, you will be accompanied by a local foreman who will go through a build site orientation and safety training with you and your facilitators. And we don't expect you to come in with a lot of experience, just a lot of enthusiasm, but we also expect that you're constantly drinking water and listening to your body. If you do need a break, your facilitators are there to support you through that. So there's definitely no pressure. We just want you to enjoy your time, but also be safe while you are at the build site. So, having met community members, you'll also have a chance to really look at what their day-to-day life is like, and this is a chance for you to all to look at what your average day looks like in comparison, and you can really understand the differences and the similarities between your culture and this new one. And it's this experience can really shift your perspective, and you'll also be able to meet really inspirational women that now work in a Midwi alternative income program with a group of other mamas. And they knit scarves, hats, and sweaters. And once they sell it, this income has become transformative for these families and these communities. So, in this culture where women have normally taken a secondary role to men, you'll be able to see how these women have changed the way women are regarded and educated in these communities. Passing through three different ecosystems, you'll enter the Amazon through the Anapo River, where you will live within the Amazon rainforests, and you'll be able to see these huge trees that will humble you, and insects and reptiles. And although we will not go near them, you'll be able to understand and expand your knowledge on what the Amazon is like and what it truly means to these communities. So the Amazon actually makes up for more than half of the world's oxygen, and its resources are crucial to human life. So for those of you who are passionate about the environment, you'll really have a chance to be literally in the heart of Earth's lungs and really understand some of the issues that are connected to protecting this environmental treasure and the people and the culture that live within it. So, rich with indigenous cultures, you will have a chance to learn about a culture and tradition that has survived in the Amazon for hundreds of years. You will have a chance to throw spears and blow darts that are traditionally used for hunting. No animals or people will be hurt in the process. This is just a chance for you to really fully engage in the traditions of the community members that you will be visiting. Along with physically and tangibly building something, we do want you to make sure that you're building relationships with our community members. So, our communities in the Andes are some of our oldest communities, and in some cases, they are actively engaged in all five pillars. So, on this trip, you'll have a chance to go beyond just knowing the pillars. By really meeting the people behind the work and those in the community impacted by the work of Midowee. A huge component of this trip is developing your leadership skills with many activities and action planning. So, you will spend some time discussing social issues that you have seen and experienced during your trip. You'll be able to break down your experiences and learn about the issues in order to set goals as solutions to these problems. So, your facilitators are there to guide you through this experience and further your skills. And once you return home, we have a youth program and we have youth program coordinators that can help set you up for success with your action plan and continuing your development for your leadership skills. So basically, the point is that we really don't want your experience to end when you come back home. So during the trip, you'll come to realize what social issues you're really passionate about, and then we will be here to support you after you return home to set you up for success in your action plan. And then after your trip, our team is here to support you with that reintegration process because culture shock can be it's a very real thing, and people can experience it in different ways. So that's why we make ourselves available to support you through that process. All right, so for those of you who need to get caught up, please visit your portal account for your checklist items. On the screen, you'll see a few of our very important logistical items. So these items can be, completing your application, signing the DocuSign, which is our waivers, purchasing insurance, making any final payments, or your passports, and things like that. So if you see anything that's on this list that is still outstanding, please contact your trip coordinator as soon as possible so we can get those items into your file and we can get you all caught up. All right, so this brings us to the end of our presentation. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. And I will leave here for a moment. And this is all the coordinators. It would be myself and Angela Hart that are coordinating trips to Ecuador, sorry, and as well as our manager Angela Sun at the bottom there. So if you do need to reach out to us, please don't hesitate to. Our phone numbers with our extensions are here, as well as our email addresses. So thank you again for joining us today, and we really do hope that you feel prepared for your trip. If you still have questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call or email us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. All right, thank you. Have a great night.